Public interest and public opinion. Introduction. Public interest is another political concept which is commonly used by all. In this study session, therefore, we will examine what makes an interest to be public and why it is that the public have interest in an issue. We will also discuss the concept of public opinion because it is relevant to the first section of this session. This study session will further discuss those factors that influence public opinion formation and how to determine public opinion in a political setting and its relevance in political environment. When you have studied this study session, you should be able to point out why an interest is a public interest, outline the uses of public interest, explain the meaning of public opinion, discuss the factors that influence public opinion, point out the major determinants of public opinion, discuss the importance of public opinion, and present how public opinion can be encouraged in the country. Public interest. Meaning of public interest. According to Brian Barry in his book, Problems of Political Philosophy, public interests are those interests which people have in common as members of the public. As the definition of this concept is straightforward, there are, however, some fundamental problems with the term public. Interests can be defined simply as those things which people desire, believing them to be beneficial to their person or whatever ends. The term public is a shifting concept whose reference cannot be determined once and for all, but is determined by issues and circumstances. This is to say that there are no interests which are common to all in the society or state. Some of the interests which are considered public include the security of life and property, economic prosperity, preservation of the family, and other basic values. These are interests which everyone in the society, that is, the public at large, are likely to share in common. Public interest is often articulated by those who control the policy-making machinery. The public may suggest policy options, but the decision to determine what makes up public interest rests on a few decision makers. Some of the groups that contribute to the decision-making process aside these few decision makers are the pressure groups and the mass media. Uses of public interest. The term public interest can be used in two terms: negative purposes and positive purposes. The negative use is when it is invoked to prevent someone or a group of decision makers from adopting a policy or a decision that is considered prejudicial to the interests of an indefinite number of people. That means it is used to condemn the policy actions or policy makers. The positive use is invoked to support policies or decisions which are beneficial to the interests of an indefinite number of people. That means it is used to commend the policy action or policy makers. Public opinion. Public opinion, unlike public interest, refers to what members of the public think or feel about government's proposed policy or action already taken by government, while public interests are interests that are germane to the common good of all in the society. Public opinion may be defined as the collective beliefs, judgments, or political views held by majority of citizens of a country about public polity or actions of the government. It is referred to as what people think or feel about government's actions and inactions. Opinions about the people differ considerably at every point in time, but majorly when the basic social amenities and essential commodities are available, the opinion of people tends to be in favor of government actions, and because of this, there is no need to oppose any action of policy of the government, no matter how. But in a situation where government actions or inactions differ from the opinion of people, that is, when the government's actions is different from what the people propose or believe, the people tend to criticize government actions and they use different means and ways to alter government decisions. However, the level of literacy rates in the country determines how many people will be interested in public issues. That means public opinion may not always be the opinion of majority of the citizens in the country. Factors that influence public opinion formation. Some of the factors or the agencies that actually influence public opinion in the country include the following. 1. The mass media. Mass media like radio, magazines, newspapers, television, journals, and handbills, among others, act as agencies through which public opinion is formed. The opinion of people can be raised and doused through effective communication from these agencies of the mass media. The mass media can even help to sample people's opinion about government's actions and inactions. 2. Pressure groups. These are the organized social interest groups that tend to influence government decisions in favor of their group interests. They employ different methods in trying to influence government opinion and government policies. For example, pressure groups serve as an organized body through which government samples people's opinions with their demands and decisions. The group can even organize study sessions for the people to be more enlightened about the government's actions and inactions. 3. Political parties. Political parties, with the help of their manifestos, rallies, and campaign, act as the basis of public opinion formation in the country. 4. Rumors and gossips. When there is a communication gap between the people and the government, people tend to listen to rumors and gossips, and they make use of the information gotten from these avenues as basis for their opinions. 5. Influential citizens. There are some people in the country that tend to serve as molders of public opinion. Traditional rulers, intellectuals, tycoons, and artists form part of the influential citizens that help form public opinion through their speeches and political statements. 6. Government role. The type of explanation and education the government gives to members of the public about its policies and actions go a long way in influencing public opinion. Major determinants of public opinion. Every government needs to be sensitive to the opinion held by the people from time to time. It is through this medium that the government can assess its policies and actions, especially in a democratic setting. Public opinion can therefore be measured or determined through the following ways. 1. Election. Election serves as a means through which public opinion is measured. In a free and fair election, government's popularity is tested. 2. Opinion poll. Opinion poll is conducted when certain government actions or inactions are thrown to the selected number of people to judge its efficiency or otherwise. Methods such as questionnaires and interviews can be used to sample people's opinion. In an organized society like the USA, Opinion polls are being conducted even to decide who might likely win an election. 3. Referendum. This is the method of referring a political question or government policy to the electorate for approval or disapproval by saying yes or no. 4. Mass media. The mass media have become a very useful instrument through which public opinion is determined. Through newspapers and magazines, people make their views known. 5. Public response. Public opinion can also be measured or determined through the way members of the public respond to government policies through mass protests and demonstrations for or against such policies or programs. Importance of public opinion. The major advantages or the importance of public opinion are going to be stated below. 1. It helps direct government in knowing what the public thinks about its policies and actions. That means it serves as feedback to the government on government policies. 2. It helps the government to know the needs and aspirations of its citizens. 3. It brings about the need for government to formulate policies and carry out actions that are in the best interest of majority of the citizens. 4. It serves as an avenue through which public views are channeled to the government. 5. It helps government to moderate her actions or inactions that might want to pull down the government. 6. Public opinion wakes up government and its agencies from their inactions. And 7. During election periods, public opinion helps voters to cast their votes for popular candidates. How public opinion can be encouraged? Public opinion can be encouraged through the following means. 1. Press freedom. When the Constitution and the government in power allows press freedom in the country, it will encourage constructive public opinion by means of making the policies and actions of government known to members of the public in their true form. 2. Raising level of literacy. Educating members of the public in order to raise the level of literacy in a country is another way in which public opinion can be encouraged. A larger percentage of literate people in a country helps the government to measure majority opinion. 3. Freedom of speech and association. If members of the public are allowed to air their views on government policies and actions, and are also allowed to associate freely with their chosen legal groups in the society, public opinion will be more encouraged. Encouragement of pressure groups. Pressure groups, through their activities, if encouraged, will guarantee healthy climate of public opinion. 5. Establishment of Information Bureau. Information Bureau, where information about government policies is being assessed and stored, should be established and made more efficient in order to bridge the communication gap between the government and the people. With this formation on ground, public opinion can be encouraged. Study session summary. In this study session, you learned that public interest is interests that are considered as the common good of all. They have, however, been influenced by different people and actions at various points in time. You also explored the concept of public opinion, which has been described as the political views held by people in a country about public policy or action or inaction of the government. It also serves as feedback to government output in terms of the decisions taken and those that were not taken at all. And that is why government should encourage public opinion. End of study session 4. Thanks for listening.